Hello students. So in this video we are going to discuss the third family and the last family in this chapter, morphology of flowering plants, that is Liliaceae. Okay, this family is a monocot family. So remember that the two families which we have already discussed, Fabaceae and Solanaceae, are dicot families, whereas this Liliaceae is a monocot family. Okay, this Liliaceae is commonly called as lily family. That itself indicates that the family is named after the plant lily. I hope you know that we are all familiar with the lily flowers. Okay, and these family members, okay, are distributed everywhere in the world. So worldwide in distribution, or otherwise you can call them as what cosmopolitan. And when it comes to the vegetative characters of the plant, this family, so these plants are generally herbs, but herbs are of three types based on their lifespan. If they live for one season or 1 year, we call them as annual herbs. And if they live for two seasons, then we call them as biennial herbs. But the plants with underground stems generally will survive for many years due to underground stems, and that's why we call them as perennial herbs. So such perennial herbs with underground stems are very common in this family Liliaceae. Okay, and being a monocot family, so what type of root system we will find here? Adventitious root system, okay, or fibrous root system. Of course, here I wrote adventitious, comma, fibrous. Means what? Fibrous roots are nothing but what? Adventitious. Because they originate from the base of the reduced stem, you can see here. This is onion plant. Okay. These are, this is reduced discoid stem from the base of which you can see these adventitious roots, which look like fibers, so fibrous roots. And the stem may be aerial in very few, and it is underground in some, as this underground stem may be a rhizome, as in the case of gloriosa, and it is a calm type of underground stem, as in the case of colchicum, and it is a bulb, as in the case of onion plant, garlic plant, and lily bulb. So the stem may be herbaceous, means what, soft stem, or it may be woody due to secondary growth. But of course, remember that monocots should not show secondary growth, but you will find anomalous secondary growth in Dracaena that belongs to this family. And the leaves are basal. What does it mean by basal? So, as majority of the plants are with underground stems, the leaf will come from the ground level. So that's why they are called basal leaves. And if you find them on the stem, we call them about caline leaves. And when you find them on the branches, we call them as ramal leaves. That's why these are called basal leaves. And the phyllotaxy or phyllotaxy is alternate phyllotaxy, and they are exstipulate without stipules. But the exception is there. Smilax is an exception for exstipulate. It is stipulate. And generally the leaves are linear, means what, like this, linear. Okay, and with what venation? Parallel venation. But of course, remember an exception among monocots, Smilax will exhibit reticulate venation, and that Smilax belongs to this family Liliaceae. Okay, now let us come to the floral characters. The inflorescence is generally is a solitary cyme, as in the case of Gloriosa, and it is umbel type of inflorescence, as in the case of onion. So this is not flower, it is inflorescence. What inflorescence? Umbel inflorescence. And I have taken out one flower. Okay, this is single flower, Okay, and this is the floral diagram, and this is the mother axis. Okay, and these are all okay. I have used a single color. I hope you are understanding the point. Why I used one color? Because they are that is perianth, which cannot be differentiated into calyx and corolla. So that's why these are not petals or are not sepals. They are tepals. Okay, and now so these are tepals. These are stamens, and this is gynoecium. Okay. Now, the flowers are with bract. So that means where is the bract actually? So these are bracts. So the umbel inflorescence will have a wall of bracts which is called involucre. Wall of bracts is called involucre. So that's why I wrote here bracteate, and they will have pedicels. So pedicellate, and over the pedicels you won't find any leaf-like appendages called bracteoles. So it is bracteolate, and all four whorls are present. So complete flower, and it is bisexual because both androecium and gynoecium are present, and it is hypogynous, means what all other floral parts are present below the gynoecium, so hypogynous with superior ovary, and the flowers are with radial symmetry, so you can cut the flower into two equal vertical halves passing through center from any plane, so that's why actinomorphic, and the perianth is arranged in two whorls, so dichlamydious, and they cannot be differentiated, so homochlamydious. I hope you might have noticed one thing for the previous two families. I wrote heterochlamydious, but here I wrote homochlamydious, and the flowers are trimerous. Is what the number of members in each whorl are three or multiple of three. Okay, so trimerous. And now let us see the details of the flower. As I told you that we can't differentiate the perianth, so we are using perianth only here. No calyx and corolla. So the perianth members are called tepals, and the number of tepals are six, arranged in two whorls of three each, three plus three. And generally, these tepals are united, forming a tubular structure. You can see here the one, two, three. These three are in the first whorl, and these three are in second whorl, and the first whorl tepals are attached to second whorl tepals. So whenever you pull out the perianth, the whole perianth comes out at a time like a tube. So that's what you have to understand. So that is what so the term that is used is what gamophilous. I hope you are understanding. When the sepals are united, you have used gamosepalous. When petals are united, you have used the term gamopetalis. And now, when tepals are fused, you can use gamotepalous or gamophilous. And the estivation is they are not. You see, the outer world tepals are not fusing, or they're sorry, so the outer world tepals are not overlapping, and these are also not overlapping, inner world also not overlapping, so that's why the estivation is valvate estivation. And the number of so okay, now let us come to the male sex organ of the flower, that is androecium, and this androecium is with six stamens. Okay, and these tables are arranged in two whorls of three each, three plus three. You can see here. So, one, two, three. First whorl tables. One, two, three. Second whorl tables. So, they are arranged in two whorls of three each. And generally, as in the case of onion, they are attached to tepals. So, this is called epiphyllous condition or epitepalous condition, and the anthers are dithecous as usual. And now, when we come to the female sex organ, gynoecium. So the gynoecium is composed of three carpels. So tricarpellary, they are united. So syncarpous, and you will find how many chambers inside the ovary? Three chambers, trilocula, and as the flowers are hypogynous, so superior ovary, and the placentation is axial placentation. And when it comes to the fruit is generally capsule, but rarely berry, as in the case of asparagus. And the seed is endospermic. This is a general character of monocots. In monocots, generally the seeds are endospermic. So that is the thing, and the floral formula. BR, that is bracteate, EBRL, bracteolate, actinomorphic, bisexual, P 3 plus 3 in brackets, that is what gametophalous, and andicium 3 plus 3, okay, no brackets, but here there is one line, and that indicates that the stamens are attached to tepals. So, epiphyllous condition, epiphyllous or epitepalous condition. Gynoecium 3, there is number of carpels, and the brackets indicate that they are syncarpous united, and the hyphen below the letter G is showing that it is superior ovary. Okay, now let us come to this economic importance of this family Liliaceae. So you remember that asparagus, the roots, that is what the fasciculated roots of asparagus, which will store food material, are edible. And also onion, of course, we are familiar with that. The onion bulb is edible. We use it, and the garlic, of course, is very important one. So that is also we use it as food. And this gloriosa and tulips, and in some areas like Shimla and Ooty, you will find these gardens, tulip gardens. Okay, so the tulip belongs to this family Liliaceae. And of course, you know that aloe vera has become very popular, and it is a medicinal plant, aloe vera. And the smilax is also a blood purifying medicinal plant. I was here. I wrote one thing, that is colchicine. Colchicine is the chemical mutation which is popularly used for inducing mutations, and that comes from the seeds of Colchicum autumnale, which is commonly called as meadow saffron. So that is about the family Liliaceae.